Hi, this is Damon of Kolob. I'm going to start with this video, a new series. I don't know how many there'll be about life in Utah because, yes, it's true. I do live here in Utah, so to start off with, I'm going to talk about one thing that Utah is very known for good or ill, probably more ill. Utah's crazy drinking laws, so raise a toast. And let's talk about the Utah liquor laws. All liquor in the state of Utah is controlled by the DABC, Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control. It's a member board which is controlled on all sale, importation, everything with liquor and all licensing is done through this board. There is one requirement that you absolutely can't do that will one thing that will disqualify you from membership on this board. Let everybody take a guess. If anybody guessed ever had a drink, would disqualify you for being on the DABC, you're right. And if you guess that, you've been to Utah or probably live here. It's not true. Some people think that Utah is a dry state, that you can't get a drink here. But you can. Liquor is sold at the state-controlled liquor store. There's a few of them scattered throughout the state. It's also sold at licensed restaurants. You must order food when you get a drink. And it's also sold at private clubs. Also in Utah, in the supermarkets, you can buy weak 3.2 beer. Now, the one thing about Utah is, like I said, you can get a drink here, but the liquor laws are crazy. They can change on a heartbeat and a dime, and the regulations just get crazy and don't really make a lot of sense sometimes. Some stories just to illustrate how crazy the liquor laws get sometimes. A few years back, they passed a new regulation. I found out about it. Me and some friends were just waiting to have dinner, so we just sat down at the bar, deciding we'd have a drink while we're waiting. And the bartender mixes the drinks, then walks all the way around the bar to hand us our drinks. Now notice we're sitting right at the bar because this is a new regulation. All the restaurants on that build a bar area and a club area can no longer use their bars. They've had to put up what's been termed jokingly as a Zion curtain, or a little piece of plastic across the bar, so they can't serve the drinks across the bar. So now, at a restaurant in Utah that has a bar, if you sit down, a bartender or a waitress will have to walk from the other side of the bar, walk all the way around, and hand you your drink. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I don't know what it accomplishes, but that's what's going on. Another example, and this only happened in the last year, it is no longer possible to get wine coolers, or as they've also been nicknamed, Alky Pops in the state of Utah, because citing a whole bunch of junk, and I don't believe it's a gateway drink. Oh, give me a break. But due to the greed of the state, they thought they could make more money by requiring that all these Alky Pops, which actually fit the requirement as a 3.2 beer because they only have 2.0 alcohol, so they're way below the legal limit, and they are malted beverage, so they should be allowed to continue to be sold in the supermarkets according to the state rules, but they passed the law and said they could only be sold in the state liquor store. And they also passed the law that they had to be licensed, or not licensed, labeled differently than other things. So come to find out, the distributors of these, like the Bartles and James, the Seagrams, etc., of these wine coolers or alky pops no longer think it's worth it to only sell to 23 stores. Plus, the state liquor stores do not have the shelf space to even carry them. So, at the state liquor stores don't carry the alky pops anymore, and they're outlawed everywhere else, so they're no more to be found. Which is too bad because it was a nice alternative at events other than crappy 3.2 beer. Okay. One thing that's always been a problem with the DABC, the local paper, the City Weekly, has covered this a lot, with claims by local club owners and local restaurateurs that they sometimes feel discriminated against by the DABC and that they feel they don't really get a fair shake because the DABC sometimes serves as judge, at judge, jury, and executioner. So, and some people just get enforced harsh, some don't get enforced at all. So it can be a real challenge for club and bar owners in the state. Okay, you cannot bring any alcohol into the state of Utah legally. Nothing at all. Any special orders that you want must go through the state liquor store. Here's a story I've heard about. I do know one person who they were traveling out of state, tried a very fine wine that they really liked, and they decided they wanted it. Ordered it through the state liquor store, and had to wait over 10 months for it to arrive. And when it finally arrived, it cost $269. If in any other state, that same case of wine would cost $94, just as a simple mail order. So that's the markup that you find on booze in Utah. They also were trying to loosen up the liquor laws and get rid of the private club rule, which basically the private club rule, what that means is anytime you walk into basically what would be a bar elsewhere, it's called a private club, you have to pay a club membership. Typically, if you're visiting from out of town, that's going to be about $4 for each place you go into. So you can't really go bar hopping in Utah. The memberships can go anywhere for the locals, from $10 to $50 a year. But you can buy a one-time, one-week membership for $4. Or the better thing, and at least if you've got a large group of you, usually that one person can buy the temporary membership and sponsor the rest of the group. The other way to drink in Utah, if you're visiting, when you go into a club, just kind of have them ask around and see if there's somebody in there who will sponsor you, and that will get you in without having to ask it. Now, this may have changed, but I did hear also if the private club was in a hotel where you were staying or right close to it, if you showed a room key, that would also waive the private club membership. The new governor, Governor Huntsman, and the new mayor of Salt Lake City have been pushing to get rid of this stupid private club rule and to just make all the clubs public and just anybody can go in and drink according to the state rules. Looks like they were making real progress until a new Speaker of the Utah House, Senator Waldhopes, is now trying to toughen up the liquor laws again and erase any progress that might have been pushed for by a more rational governor. The one thing you can always say about the liquor laws in Utah, wait 3 or 4 months, they'll change, so very hard to keep track of them. These rules come and go. Also, one other thing, if you're traveling into Utah, no single drink can have more than 2 ounces of alcohol and no more than 1 ounce of any one particular alcohol. So makes it hard to get a martini or other drinks here. Just quick wrap up. What's the best place in Utah to get a drink? Nevada. Seriously, the best place is probably the Officers Club on Hill Air Force Base, but that's not open to the public. Only people who work or are in the military can go there. So anyway, that's the liquor laws in Utah. This is Demon of Kolob out.